Hi, friends. I just wanted to share with you something that I recently saw and been thinking about ever since. I went to just drove up the road to Kmart this morning, and as I was driving past a Uniting Church there, they've got the sign out the front. Like a lot of churches do have those sign with some witty saying. This sign said, "Tough times don't last, tough people do." Tough times don't last, tough people do. When I first read it, I was at the traffic lights and I was like, oh yeah, drove. And after about 10 meters down the road, I thought, that's, that's not right. That's not right and not helpful, not encouraging. And here's why. First of all, tough times don't last unless they do, right? Like tell that to someone who's had a really tough life. Hey, it won't last. You're like, well, it's been 20 years. How long do I have to wait? So tough times don't last is not necessarily true. Well, not true for everyone. So it's a tough thing to say just on a street corner. The other thing is tough times don't last, but tough people do. Okay, unless they don't, right? Like earlier this year, we had Kobe Bryant die in a helicopter crash with his daughter. Did they die because they weren't tough? No. Like, it's just such a ridiculous statement that tough people last. Like, what, forever? Do they, is that immortality? Is that the secret? Um, and so for about a millisecond, that sort of statement is like mildly encouraging and uplifting. But as soon as you critique it just a little bit, it's like, well, hang on, everyone that's currently sick, are they not tough enough? Everyone that's died from the coronavirus, or are they not tough enough? The people that have been homeless for 20 years, are they not tough enough? Like it's just such a ridiculously shallow saying and statement. And to be honest, like I would have a problem with anyone saying that, but particularly when it's a church that says that. That is just an outrageous claim for someone who claims to know God and Jesus and sin. So that was pretty frustrating to read that, because I think it's insulting. I think it's really insulting to people that are going through a hard time at the moment, to be able to say that, hey, you'll last if you're tough. You're like, well, no, my wife and I just lost our income. Like, how does being tough help that? Um, so anyway, I don't want to critique. It was an old church. It was probably old Betsy that comes up with what goes on the signs. So I don't want to have too much of a go at her. But to be honest, like if you're going to put something on a corner, you're going to put something on a corner that gets hundreds and perhaps thousands of cars going past every day. You need to do a bit better than that, old Betsy. But it got me thinking, the interesting thing, this time in our lives where perhaps a lot of things around us are crashing down, reminded me of a parable in the Bible. Jesus says that he talks about houses and foundations, and he says in life, you can either build your house on sand or you can build your house on rocks. Or a rock. And he goes on to say that a man built his house on the sand, and while the sun's shining, building a house on sand is great. Everyone loves a beach house. Unfortunately, when the sun isn't shining and the storms come and the rains come and the winds come, you quickly realize that sand as a material is not great for foundations. And so the house obviously gives way under pressure, under great storms, and then you're left with a collapsed house. And the analogy is that that's actually perhaps what are we building our lives on? How are we living our lives? Are we building that on statements like tough people last, but tough times don't? Like, is that that's a real sandy statement, that when life is good, you can get away with having that, right? Your little live, love, laugh thing on your wall, that's fine. But when life sucks, which is going to happen to all of us at some point, what gets you through? What gets you up in the morning when you've just lost your job, when someone's in your family or friends isn't healthy? Like what gets you out of bed and what keeps you hopeful? It's not knowing that you just need to be tough to survive. And so the thing about these parables is that Jesus says it's not actually the problem is what our lives are built on. And so what is your foundation of your life? And he proposes that actually we should be building on something like a rock. And the rock for us as Christians is Jesus. Building our lives on Jesus. Our house is going to stand on sunny days, on rainy days, on stormy days, and it'll stand not because I'm tough, because the foundation of my life is tough. I hope that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, or you want to know exactly what it looks like to have Jesus as your foundation, now is a really good time to look into that, because this Friday and this Sunday, well, you know that this weekend is Easter, right? And so more than just being about chocolate, it's a great time for us to explore who Jesus is and why he might be a good option to build our lives on, to be the foundation of our lives. So if you want to have a look in to a church service this Friday, it's Good Friday. Most churches will have a Good Friday service. They'll also have an Easter Sunday service. Wherever you are, look up your local church. Chances are they're definitely having an online service that you can just tap into from your phone or your TV. But if you can't be bothered looking around for one, our church is doing it online, and you can get there by going to cityonahill.digital, and you'll get there on your phone or on your TV or whatever. Come along, hear about who Jesus is, why he needed to die on Good Friday, and why he was raised again on Easter Sunday, and what it looks like to have your lives built on him as the rock, as your foundation. So consider it, come along, tap in. It's easier than ever. Do it from your bed or your couch, and stay for a little bit, stay for the whole thing. And if you've got questions, slip into my DMs and ask me, because I'm like, all jokes aside, I'm fully aware that for a lot of us at the moment, it is a season of storms and rain and wind, and I expect that a lot of people are going to go, crap, I have built my life on sand. These things that I thought really mattered and were going to hold up in life are not cutting it. Like, life's really tough, and I'm finding it difficult to cope, and I've got lots of questions. I expect that a lot of people are like that, and that's okay. Just because we're Christians doesn't mean we don't have questions or we don't feel those same feelings. And so I'd love to chat with you if you want to chat more. But stay safe out there, guys. And yeah, if you want to chat more, let's do that.